Hey, how's it going, YouTube? This is Spearfield7. I'm bringing you a Lawbreakers gameplay and commentary. We might be having a problem in Lawbreakers land because not a lot of people are playing the shit. And it's a really frustrating thing for me because the game is really awesome. Basically, the game has had problems ever since it was originally released, and I don't think it's through any fault of its own, through the game's fault itself. The game is a very polished, well put together game. I guess this guy Cliff Brzezinski is behind it. He was really known for Unreal Tournament, a very competitive PC shooter in the 90s, and was one of the minds behind the Gears of War franchise. So dude has been around for a while, and he knows this particular genre, and my hat's off to him. But before we get into the video, I wanted to just explain what you're seeing in the background. This is the best damn gameplay I'm ever going to get on this game. I've kind of come to that realization. I was just doing everything, and it felt really great. The games are actually rated on sort of like a grade scale, sort of like when you're in school, A, B, C, D. This is an S gameplay. I almost got S+, which is the highest possible quality match. So I'm really proud of this one. If you take nothing from this, I really hope you just enjoy the gameplay. But basically, a lot of gaming blogs, gaming media have been harping on the fact that since the game is launched on PC, the player base is roughly, I don't know, 400 people at any given time, which for a newly released game is really atrocious. It's pathetic. It's really bad, actually. And all indications would lead it to be a flop. I mean, I think the game Battleborn that came out a while back was a huge flop of a game, and even it had a higher player base. We're going to kind of stick with consoles because that's what I play mostly on this channel. And there aren't numbers yet for PS4, but I would probably think that it's probably around the same level. And it's really frustrating that a real diamond in the rough, a gem like Lawbreakers, is dropping in this era of shooters. I mean, it's a very oversaturated market, and I'm sure if you sat back and closed your eyes and tried to name off as many as you could, you probably could, with very little effort, name off a dozen different titles. You know, you got your Battlefronts and your Battlefields and your Call of Duties and Titanfall and Battleborn and Overwatch, and God, it just, the list goes on and on. So there's a lot of games in the marketplace right now, so it's hard to distinguish and separate yourself from the rest of the pack. A lot of people, including myself, my first impressions video got kind of downvoted into oblivion because I compared it to Overwatch, which is kind of a very reasonable general point of comparison for the two games. But this game is a lot more of an arena shooter, but the whole hero concept and the class-based loadout system, very similar. So I don't know why there were haters. Maybe it was just people who didn't like the game and are just trying to ruin the reputation of the game. But anyways, it's a very thick market for shooters right now. Likewise, there wasn't a whole lot of marketing around this game. There were some YouTube videos that kind of brought in pro gamers to play the game, talk about how fucking cool it is, etc. But we're living in a day and age where video games can very easily have $500 million budgets. I mean, the video games these days actually have budgets that are higher than Hollywood movies, and the marketing is a huge chunk of that. I mean, we're talking about millions of dollars. I mean, just think for yourself. Every time there's a new Call of Duty in the fall, typically you're watching Sunday football with your boys, with your family, whatever, and you see a live action commercial come on the screen, or Destiny, another great example. You see some sort of live action commercial that looks badass, or some Led Zeppelin song playing. You got some sort of name actor that you recognize from TV or movies, you know, in a combat outfit, and it's just sort of like, F yeah, buy our game. And Lawbreakers didn't have that, particularly because the game was originally going to be free to play. It was going to be kind of a microtransaction driven game, kind of like Blacklight Retribution, which is a free-to-play title on PS4. You can go download it right now. They expected to make their money off of DLC and on add-ons to upgrade your character. But eventually, the people behind the game actually decided it's not a good idea to go free-to-play, and we're actually going to sell this for a price tag of like $30. So it's half the price of sort of a standard new release game. I don't know. It's very tricky to me because I think the $30 price point actually inadvertently can push people away. It gives them an indication that the game is not worth the full price tag. And a lot of people, there was some controversy last year about the video game No Man's Sky, which was an indie game, and it was sold for full price, you know, $60 price tag. And it got a lot of flack for that because a lot of people said this is not a AAA game, and only AAA games should have that kind of price tag. So I think the expectation is when you're cruising around the PlayStation store or whatever and you see a game is $30, you might think to yourself, does that mean it's not good? Does it mean since it's a brand new game and it's this price, is it not a fully fledged, well put together game? In my opinion, the game is put together incredibly well. It's actually one of the more engaging, challenging shooters I've played in a very, very long time. I was a Call of Duty addict, and I still play it a lot, but this game requires a lot more in your movements, in the decisions that you're making, and it's all very, very, very fast. So if you're not really on point, you know, you're going to get smacked around a little bit. And lastly, I think that's a huge issue for people, honestly. I think that the ability level required also turns people off, because when you do start playing this game, you will get smacked around. I mean, there is no regenerating health. You have to rely on health pickups around the map, and it, you know, the amount of abilities and movements and ways of chaining together kills and chaining together attacks is actually a lot more complicated than your traditional Call of Duties and that kind of thing. So there is something to be said that the popularity of games like Call of Duty are more because they are casually oriented, that people, you know, come home from a hard day's work, crack open a beer, play a couple TDM matches, no big deal, go to bed. So, but with this game, you really have to learn and understand and know the meta and know how the characters interact and how they counteract when you're in engagements with others. So overall, honestly, I think a lot of people, you know, harp on skill, you know, in shooters so much because they don't want to seem like they're a bad player, but this game especially requires skill. And there are just so many features about this game. I could go on and on and on and on. There are FOV sliders on console, which is a very, very nice touch. The variety of characters, the map design, the game modes themselves, they all play very, very, very solidly. And really, ultimately, it's just incredibly depressing to me that people are ignoring a really awesome game. So I guess this video is just a shot in the dark, a shot in the blue to avoid this game dying because I enjoy it so damn much. I really do hope it gains traction, but I'm afraid that in this day and age, it's already screwed the pooch, and it's already going to be an uphill climb for it to sort of get out of the hole it's in. It's really great, and it's really rewarding once you figure it out. You will get kicked around a little bit, but it is so awesome when you finally, you know, have that light bulb moment where everything starts to make sense. So I've been kind of collecting stuff ever since I started playing the game. I think I might weave together a little montage next week. I haven't really been posting much this week because I've been out of town working and doing some other stuff. But so stay tuned for that Enforcer montage. It's going to be a lot of fun. And tomorrow I'm going to be on that Call of Duty World War II beta grind. Prayers. And I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of fun stuff to share with you regarding my impressions of the Call of Duty World War II beta. I will definitely be on all of that as soon as humanly possible. So until next time, this is Spearfield 7. See you later.